Hero Club presents Los Ingobernables de Tokusatsu.
Hello and welcome to Los Ingobernables de Tokusatsu, episode 80. Yes, we're 20 episodes away from episode 100, our huge milestone for the series thus far. I'm your host and co-creator, Wheelchair21, and joining me tonight for the 80th episode is the fourth member of the podcast, SoundOut12.
When am I not here, though?
Yeah, I know, you pretty much just became the full-on member.
I just live here now.
Yeah, you do, because, like, frickin' Mucha and Projekt, like, rarely show. But Mucha has a real valid excuse, Projekt not so much.
And when I'm not here, I have a super valid excuse.
Yeah, but when you're not here, we just do a different day of recording.
This is true. I'm flexible.
We just change the day.
Yep.
Or we just go on delay.
All because of me.
Well, I mean, we used to do that with Mucha too, but, you know, Mucha's job is even more hectic than before. Go East Coast. And then finally, we also have the fifth member of the show, Visible Ninja.
Howdy, folks. What's up?
So, for our 80th episode, we're going to be continuing our March Metal Hero Madness a little bit later in the show, but we're going to be opening up with the Rider Time specials, and then closing out our show will be us talking briefly about the premiere episode of Kishi Ryu Sentai Ryusouls, the, 43rd series of Super Sentai, even though they're the 44th team?
Yes, You got it.
Alright, so anyways, like I said, we are talking about in order of events. We're going to be doing the Rider Time specials, then we're going to be talking about the movie review for the Metal Hero Madness, which is a Uchu Sentai Kyuranger versus Space Squad, and then, like I said, we are doing the Ryusouls to reiterate everything that is going on. So, first off, we are getting the Rider Time Shinobi special. That is the first one coming up. That is the first one that TaJa wanted to reveal, even though the Ryuki one is the one that people really give a rat's ass about, which features Kamen Rider Shinobi, Rentaro Kagura, played by Hideo Tawada, you know, from the Ninja fame as Star Ninja, where, yeah, nin. And we found out there's another Kamen Rider in this freaking special called Kamen Rider Hatari, Isamichi Kojo, as well as other characters like Rentaro's sister, Ihiro Kagura, and Master Kamano, which is Rentaro's master, and then Nin no Hibi, which is some, like, ninja, kaijin. And it'll take place in the year 2022. And it's all about, you know, Rentaro facing his rival and facing this new dark ninja. Honestly, since I don't really care about these future riders, I don't really give a rat's ass at all about this Shinobi special, even though it airs on the 31st, the 7th, and the 14th. Heck, I only looked at the suits of these characters. I didn't even go and watch the trailer. So I'm going to throw it over to Metal first and ask him what's his thoughts on this overall idea of just the Shinobi one before we move to the one that I think is...
The Shinobi one is interesting because of the future writers. It seems Shinobi is the one that a lot of people are gravitating towards more than, say, Kikai or Quiz. But, you know, it's all looking pretty cool. And, yeah, obvious, you know, Dark Drive or Proto Drive, you know, suit reuse is there. But, hey, what can you do, right? Still looks pretty cool, though. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
All right, Shinobi.
First of all, I've never understood the hype for Shinobi, so, yeah, not really super pumped for this. But, yeah, we have our first incest storyline in Kamen Rider.
No, we've had others, I think.
No, this one's pretty direct, though.
How direct?
Well, Shinobi's sister is in love with Shinobi and doesn't know that Shinobi is her brother.
Oh, God. Oh, God. No. Oh, no.
Yeah, they're going there.
No. Oh, no, it's Sword Art Online.
Yay, incest?
It's also technically Star Wars.
True, but...
See, it all ties together.
Still kind of...
It's incredibly icky.
You think?
Like, I will say I like the suit designs for, like, you know, the villain, which is hard to pronounce. What is it? Like, I keep saying Ninno Hibi. Like, his suit looks pretty cool. I'm trying to figure out, like,
just use the villain's real name. Shirakura.
He doesn't have the balls to show up on screen again.
Get to the next segment. I can talk about how he hates women.
You
think it's a joke?
I mean, it doesn't help that, you know.
We know it's
I was gonna say it doesn't help though that, you know, Femme is, you know, on maternity leave in general. Like she just had her second kid just like last week.
Let's move on to the next segment so I can Let's move on to the next segment
Oh,
so I can
you mean the one that actually mattered, the Ryuki rider time.
The one that should just be like 25 more episodes and just replace Zio in the time slot?
You mean the one that literally features the return of, 1, Ryuki himself, Shinji Kido, Taka Masasuga, as well as freaking Satoshi Matsuda, Ren Akiyama, Kamen Rider Knight, as well as Kamen Rider Oja, Takashi Hagano, as well as Satoshi Icho, Jun Shibara as Kamen Rider Guy, as well as Kamen Rider Raya, Miyuki Tezuka, Hasaya Tadako, who's better known as, Ultraman Agul. In addition, we're also getting Goro Yura, who's probably going to end up being the Zolda of this special, most likely, since I think Zolda himself has not even been shown to return for this special.
I don't think original Zolda's back. I think it's just Goro as Zolda.
Goro as Zolda again. As well as we're allegedly getting new riders, or at least new characters portraying former Ryuki riders, as well as Abyss will be included. And in the trailer we see that frickin' Odin will be using actually all 3 survive cards, or have in possession all 3 survive cards. On top of that, crazy shenanigans.
Gaze is in it.
Gio's allegedly in it, and they're making a lot of references to Ryuki in just the trailer alone, especially when there's the whole thing of the Ryuga facing off with Ren with the swords, and it's a mirror of the actual opening credits.
Can't talk about how Shirakura hates women.
Fine.
So Kamen Rider Fom isn't in this. And inherently it's like, oh, well, you just mentioned your actress has been on maternity leave. Yeah, but, they recast all the other writers that they're not getting the original actors back. No, they'd rather use Abyss instead of Fom, because Shirakura hates women.
So is that your only tangent?
I don't know, I'm really super excited for this, despite Shirakura hating women.
I mean, one thing that's ironic is that the dates for these all match up, with the Shinobi one, 31st, 7, and 14th.
But they're airing on 2 different networks.
Yeah, Video Pass and the Toei Tokusatsu Fan Club.
I really want to see this Ryuki one. I'm super excited.
Which is sad, because it's the one that's going to be on Video Pass.
Which means it's infinitely harder for fan subbers to get it.
Not impossible, but just harder.
Which means, not going to say that this is the case, but only TV Nihon's going to sub this, isn't it?
That's not necessarily true. Maybe Pocket Universe will do it.
In a few years when the Blu-ray comes out.
I was going to say, Pocket Universe was pretty fast on doing originally the movie we're talking about tonight.
Right, but that was also not a Video Pass exclusive.
True. Yeah, I don't know. Like watching this though, I'm very excited for this. It doesn't help that they did get back quite a few of the original writers. It doesn't also help that they went all out by when they did the little trailer thing. They actually had the actual Ryuki narrator doing the narration for this special.
Oh yeah, no. Shirakura is making a Ryuki love fest, and I'm not really going to argue with that, except it needs a female character, because there currently is none.
He needs a female character to die horribly.
I mean, at least that's better than having no female character.
But I mean, this is Shirakura's weird little pet project, since, Ryuki was his first real show.
Yeah.
And he clearly didn't like Fom.
And she's a movie writer, she doesn't count.
But throws Ryuga and Verde in.
Ryuga, Verde, yeah, sure. Abyss, he's from Decade, why not?
Alternatives got snubbed too. Unless they show up, who knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, because here's the other thing too. This one's actually being written by Inoue, so Inoue is probably like, alright, so I have full reign to make this show a shitstorm. And it's gonna be hilarious because, it's Inoue, so...
I kind of love Ryuki being a shitstorm, so this is the point.
At least though with Ryuki, it was a pretty good shitstorm, unlike Fi's, where it was just Shirakura undermining Inoue every moment he could.
Exactly.
Exactly, I know, right? It's just incredible. I mean,
I freaking want to watch this already.
It's so funny though, because everyone's like, oh my god, I'm so excited for both of these, and I'm just like, bruh, Ryuki, ride or die. Fuck Shinobi. The only thing good is his suit. That's the only sad part. Is
I like Shinobi's suit. I don't like Shinobi's suit. I don't like his actor. I don't like his storyline. I like literally nothing about Shinobi.
No, I hate the actor. I straight up wish the actor, fell into a fire and never returned.
There is nothing that could make me excited about the Shinobi special.
And the plot twist happens. They get an actor back that we all been waiting to see.
Jiraiya.
No, he's been back already.
No, I mean,
King Kisoge.
Yes.
Yeah, the other Jiraiya.
The other Jiraiya.
The other Jiraiya. watching someone listening to us doing the news going, these guys are assholes. I'm like, well, what took you so long to figure that one out?
Like, I'm sorry, I just don't like Shinobi.
I don't really like Gio either, but hey, I mean, we got a Ryuki special out of it, so I can't complain.
I still need to watch the Ryuki episodes of Zio.
All I know is Mucha explained to me is that think of it as the Hongo Fi's ending, and that it feels like a real ending to Ryuki, the Gio episodes.
Oh, good lord.
So let's go right on to our main thing, our March Metal Movie Madness, which, is Space Squad, or should we say Kyuranger versus Space Squad, which is actually established by Koichi Sakamoto as episode 1.5. It is not a main continuity kind of film. It helps to establish the next film, obviously, in the series.
We still don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly, because unlike when we had episode 0, which was filmed at the same time as the first Space Squad film, we knew what was going on because they were filmed in tandem to correspond with each other. Whereas this time around, this time around they're not in sync. They're not leading into each other, and it's a little questionable. But the best way to explain it is when it comes to the fact of Space Squad and Kyuranger, you have it that Scheider and Jiraiya are going after Deimos, who's an actual character from the series. He's been revived by Genmaku, and he's just up to no good, and he warps to the Kyurangers universe. However, in the Kyurangers universe, time works way faster there than it does here, as allegedly 4 years have passed since the end of Kyuranger. I don't know how that works, but in their universe, 4 years.
And yet, what's-his-face is still like 10.
Yes, he's still like 10. So that's where shit gets real, and since Deimos has come to the Kyuranger world, he's convinced Hammy to start working for him because, oh hey, your master is somehow alive, even though technically she was killed off by Jark Matter during the war for her homeworld, which makes no effing sense. It's a weird story.
Jark Matter, more like Jerk Matter.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's the typical Toei or Tokusatsu thing of, oh yeah, they're not really dead. They've been captured for the last 8 years, and you're like, none of that makes sense.
Is that going to happen in Ryusoulger?
Oh, that's probably going to happen for sure in Ryusoulger. Or they're brought back from the dead. Woo!
Woo! Spoiler.
No consequences. No, spoiler for when we talk about Ryusoulger in 20 minutes. Anyways, so Hammy is working with Deimos, who also revives 4 great warriors from Sentai's past. Juzo, Melee, Escape, Bosco. But Melee's like, yeah, I don't want to work for you, because I only work for the love of my life, Ryo-sama. And it
was more like a verbal bitch slap than a casual conversation.
Yeah, pretty much verbal bitch slaps and then jutsus and mind control. And then they go off to try to kill Tsurugi and steal the Neo Kyutamas, which leads to, Avengers Civil War and Metal's heavy breathing. And the Kyurangers start fighting over, we need to save Hammy! Hammy has reasoning! And Deimos is poking them, going, hey Team Tsurugi, I think Team Lucky's gonna butt-fuck you. Hey Team Lucky, Tsurugi's gonna butt-fuck you. So then Scheider and freaking Gavin show up, and they're like, whoa, guys, you ever think that the guy that we're looking for called Deimos is prodding you guys from both ends to fight each other and kill each other so he can take all of your Kyutamas, come back to our universe, and start a war? And they're like, no. And they're like, well, that's what's really going on. And they're like, really? And they're like, yeah, you morons. And that leads to them, having their great fight with the resurrected villains, Deimos, and Hammy realizing she's been a bad girl, because Hammy's been a bad girl. But don't worry, because Tsurugi's the president of the universe, so he can just wipe the slate clean, and people won't ever know Hammy did all of these terrible things, even though her face has been posted all over media as the most wanted criminal in the galaxy.
Look,
which is ironic.
Based on what's happened in the world in the last year, this plot just becomes more realistic every day.
Exactly. Ironically, this film is very short and closed off real fast, especially when the fact is Geki and Shu arrest Deimos, and they're like, hey, Lucky, we came here to recruit you, but you're too much of an idiot, so yeah, we're gonna resend that invitation. We're gonna go back, and then...
Wait, what's a Shu?
Abs.
Oh!
Yeah, now you figured it out. So after they go back to our home universe of the main Sentai Metal Hero, canon world, they're met with Jiraiya, and Jiraiya's like, yeah, there's more terrorist bombings going off all over the universe from Genmaku. So we're gonna need to find a rescue squad. And, Shu and Geki go, yo, do we know anyone who does this stuff? And they're like,
Uchu
nah.
Sentai GaGaGa 5.
Yeah, GaGaGa 5, but then it just cuts to Winspector going, motherfucker. And literally that's practically your film. That's the abridge of
That's
it. Because,
the movie.
Like, the movie's only, like, what, 48 minutes to, like, 50 minutes long? It's a very
it's
short...
an hour.
Okay, it's an hour. It's like a very short one when you think about it, especially with the depth of character development. Because there's not much except Tammy.
Well, here's the thing. I don't really see it as being short because it's about the length of the other Sentai Returns movies. The thing that throws us off is the fact that, it's kind of sort of a, what's that word? Space Squad movie, which are usually longer and more deep.
Yeah, that's probably a big issue. So, like, before...
It's definitely more Sentai Returns than it is.
Oh, no, it's a Sentai Returns for sure.
Technically, it's also a Sentai Versus movie, because this is Kyurangers Versus movie.
Yeah, even though there's not that much versus going on. Except
There
with each
usually
other.
isn't that much Versus going on in the show anyways. So,
Yeah, true. Like, I mean, in this version, it was them doing Captain America Civil War, It was just Captain America Civil War.
Oh, yeah, I still need to make that edit.
Yeah, we still need to make that edit. We'll have it ready by the time this episode airs, hopefully. So, yeah, let's go to Metal for his thoughts on, Kyuranger Civil War featuring Hammy, best girl.
The sad part is Hammy's really the only kind of interesting thing about this movie. I mean, yeah, bringing back old villains, is always great. And, my boy, Jiraiya featuring somewhat prominently in there. He's great, but...
Jiraiya.
Exactly. But, like, I want to like the movie, but it's like, don't get me wrong, like I love, Sakurako, Okubo as Hammy. And she is the highlight of this movie, but honestly, other than her, like, New Shider and the cute, it honestly just kind of doesn't fly. Like, it's not horrible, like, I'd watch it again, but, like, it's not as good as, like, Space Squad, the first one, or even Episode 0 with all the, Sakamoto fan service. But what really more is there to say is, I didn't hate it, but it's not super fantastic.
So I actually really enjoyed the movie, just to kind of have the wrap up of Kyuranger. That was very important to me, cause I don't know, I liked Kyuranger. The thing is, yeah, it felt more like Versus movie, Returns movie than Space Squad movie. So the Space Squad parts definitely felt not only secondary, but also just kind of unnecessary. This definitely was Kyuranger versus Kyuranger featuring Space Squad. Kind of in the same vein where you look at Kyuranger versus Go Busters, where it's really more Kyuranger meets the other dinosaur guys. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what this feels like. And I'm hoping that they do balance things out better for Lupin Ranger versus Pata Ranger versus Kyuranger, because if Kyuranger is just going to be a little footnote in the Lupat Returns movie, then that's going to suck. And I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah, no, there was something that I was talking to you about, was that, like, the filter that they've been using lately for, like, the Sentai films, or at least the Space Squad films, like, it felt kind of more or less daunting on this film. And I think it's because this film in particular was shot during wintertime. So, like, it didn't add well because of all the cloudy areas, especially when there's a scene where they're fighting indoors, and you can see it's almost like a whiteout blizzard outside as they're filming one of the fights. Like, I feel like the type of filter and style they used for the film made the film look really dreary, right? Like, didn't it look very...
It did. It kind of
weird?
It kind of gave it a Hollywood film color tone to it, which not the best option for Toku, but it did it gave it an Amazon. I made the joke. I'm like, oh yeah, it has the same color palette as Amazon's. Looking back, it actually literally has the same color palette as Amazon's.
Yeah, no, I felt like it took down a lot of the tone of, like, it tries to add to the seriousness with the Hammy storyline, but I felt like for all the color and vibrant for the fights of the Kyuranger suits and the effects that were amazing fights nonetheless, like, the fight and choreography was good, and it was, like, very, like, spaghetti, I wouldn't say spaghetti western, but it was like a shoestring tokusatsu film featuring the Kyurangers. Like I said to you,
it kind of felt like a Showa Toku in a way.
Yeah,
with how low budget it was.
No, you know what it felt like? It felt like that late Showa Heisei, like the Kamen Rider films, like Zo and Jay, with like how the wire works and the effects were working since Koichi was doing the stunt work. Like, there was a lot of good choreography, but because you're using Kyuranger, which used so many effects and so many visual, like, not just effects for their blasts, but like when they would do like their poses, it was like so weird when they were doing, you know, saying their catchphrase of like, Lucky Star, Chef Star, Chameleon, Shinobi Star, and like none of the effects are showing up behind them. I was like, wow, this is really taking the oomph out of the Kyurangers when they were fighting. Like, it felt alright with Shider and Gavin when they fought Deimos, but like seeing the fights, it was like the choreography was splendid and immaculate, but when they were, you know, doing like their roll call and transformation, that was missing. Like, I felt like, what the hell? Because when they did Deca Ranger and Gavin doing the first Space Squad, they actually included their transformations and the actual effect of, the stock footage or the brand new transformation sequence. But here they were like, not even giving you any of that effect, nor were they giving you any of that, like, significant glare of them using, like, when Lucky went to the TaJa mode, Lucky went to the Pegasus mode.
Pegasus didn't even talk.
Yeah, it was very weird, you know what I'm saying? Like for the Kyurangers at least, it was like they felt very toned down, like it looked good, but like because of who they are and who we've known to come and known them for, not just by the show's presentation of them, I don't think it entirely fit, you know what I'm saying? It felt like it didn't gel too well. Like the fight gelled with them, but just not seeing the aura of the effect, and I think the filter just made me like so disengaged with it, and I think the fact that the trailers even hyped up that Scheider and Gavin had more of a role in this film than they really did was like an immediate turn-off with the film. It was like, why didn't you just say it was a Kyuranger Returns film and just sort of put them in there just for shits and giggles? Like you said, it's like the Go Buster scenario in the Koei
And the other thing is too is like, it kind of felt like as well, it was like, is there a contract that there has to be a Space Squad movie every year? Because that's what it felt like, where it was just like, this seems completely unnecessary. And the thing is that, it was nice to have Geki and Shu there, but they could have been not in the movie and nothing would have been different. And that's like, they just became extraneous characters.
Yeah, because like, even I stated before I went and watched the film, I was like, so guys, Jiraiya fights in this film, and you guys were like, nah, he just told the door open, and I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that felt pointless. Why promote Jiraiya too? If he's just gonna stand there saying, hey guys, can you get back? I can't hold the door any longer. My chakra isn't holding, et cetera, jutsu. Naruto.
Like, it literally is the same situation as Kyoryuger versus Go Busters, where the Go Busters did basically nothing. Like, they had their little time at the beginning, and then they just got, like, thrown aside for dinosaurs.
Yeah, like, which was funny too, is like, they didn't even use the actual music. They just used the instrumentals for all of the characters, like, for their opening theme songs or their fight insert music. I was like, what the hell is going on? This movie was so low budget, but yet, like, it was low budget, but had a budget. It was, like, really, like, one of those in-the-middle films. It was just, like, they were like, okay, we're gonna make a film, but this time, unlike other Return or Space Squads, we're not gonna really put in the effort, so Koichi, just do it.
I mean, this had the same, I would
do.
say this probably had the same buzz as Zyuohger Returns.
Maybe.
Being the Versus movie and the Space Squad movie of the year did make it feel like it needed more. Like if this was just Kyuranger Returns and wasn't their Versus movie and their Space Squad movie, fine. But the thing is too is on top of that, did we need a Space Squad crossover when they already had one?
I think it would have been more relevant if it actually progressed the plot more than being just more like you're skipping a stone across the pond and like, it just stops at like it was like one of those ones where it stopped midway, you know what I'm saying? It's like it somehow stopped, like its time froze and then it skipped all the way across, from one side to the other. It was like one of those, we just took like a small pinpoint of how did we get from episode 1 to episode 2, because as Koichi stated, this is a 1.5. It's like a side story. It's like when we get the next Space Squad film that's supposedly in development, the Kyuranger thing is going to have like no relevance except Deimos.
Pretty much. And the thing is, yeah, it sucks from the Space Squad side, but from a Kyuranger side, it did, kind of give us a look into the Kyurangers' lives after saving the universe from being enslaved. And it was kind of neat to see, like, where everyone had ended up. And it was also good because I think Hammy was a really strong character that didn't get a lot of focus episodes. And so to give her this movie was just a really good service to the character and the actress.
The only one who didn't get anything was Garu, except the child.
He got a child, even though I was convinced Garu was definitely, anyways, we'll talk about Garu's journey with taking his sexual orientation and having grips with it. None of those words were said in the right order. Basically, there was like a subplot where like Garu realized, oh, I don't think my gender is what I think it is.
No, I think that was just every time he used that one Kyutama, I think you misaligned it when he kept getting thrown with the trap Kyutama.
No, because the thing is that he was like, I don't want to wear a dress, and then he wears a dress. He's like, no, this isn't bad.
Maybe he just likes wearing a dress,
And he also did spend the entire series going from, I don't want to know anybody to, oh my god, Lucky, I'll protect everything you ever do. You're the person I will follow into anything. And
well, he is a dog, so he is man's best friend.
Yeah, he definitely, like, I've always said Kyuranger had 11 really strong characters and a decently cute mascot.
They had a dog, and they had a sex bot. I don't know what else to say. It's like, the only thing that was cool was the whole Winspector thing. Was like, hey, do we know any rescue squads? And like, I immediately was like, well, if it ain't Winspector, they're gonna show freaking GoGo 5, even though GoGo 5 said that they would never reunite again. But overall, like, when it comes to the movie, like, I felt really let down as a Space Squad guy, cause I'm like, Metal Heroes! And then they're just shoved to the side. Like, they're so badly shoved to the side. I mean, like, Escape had more screen time than the Metal Heroes.
That's not a complaint in my book, but I know what you're saying.
That's not really a complaint, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, I like Escape. I like Misaki Ayame. But she wasn't supposed to be the...
Hey,
what?
let's remember that they reveal that they were in the movie through a trailer for a villain Sentai.
On April Fool's Day.
On April Fool's Day, which really, like, that was an accurate trailer for this movie.
It kind of frickin' was. I mean, like, it really did, especially they were like, hey, look, we got chameleon girls. And I was like, no one likes you, Melee. You're too old now.
I say age doesn't matter and Melee is beautiful.
No, she had too many sagging bags under her eyes.
I liked her because she actually
like
contributed to the plot.
She didn't really contribute.
Yes, she did. She was like a mentor to Hammy.
Mentoring didn't really explain much to Hammy. She was like, Hammy, you need to be like a woman. And Hammy was like, what? Just be a bitch.
Exactly. See, Hammy got reaffirmed in her independent nature.
I mean, originally she just acted like a punk-ass teenager when the show began.
Exactly. Character arc.
Now she's being told, no, be a stuck-up bitch in college. What?
She's like, no, I ain't doing that shit.
And then she gets her master back, which I was really hoping was going to be some bullshit jutsu, and it was just going to be a nobody, and she just disappears, and she's like, I did everything for nothing! No!
That would have made the whole movie pointless, though.
But it would have been just desserts, though, because, I mean, like...
That's not
literally,
Sentai,
she
though.
did nothing. I know, because Sentai nowadays is like, no, there's no such thing as loss. And I'm like, are you stupid? And the reason I bring that up is because we already made the reference of, hey, how do you think they're being brought back later this season?
Speaking of which.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, last thoughts though, real fast on the movie though. So, do you recommend this film or not so much?
I totally recommend this to people that watch Kyuranger because
I
it's a
still
great
would.
follow-up to Kyuranger.
Like, I still would for basically the reasons Sound Out stated. Like, I would still watch it. Like, personally, it's not one of my favorites, but you know what? Like I said, I would still watch it because it's good for Hammy development because Hammy is bae.
Yeah, like, Kyuranger-wise, yes. Space Squad and Metal Heroes, no. It's really, like, yeah, I feel sad now. Let's go to things that won't make me as sad, but make me confused as fuck. Our opinions on the first episode of Ryusouls. So, brief rundown for those of you who have yet to watch it and don't care for spoilers. We have three
Best
new...
of luck, my friend. I hope you don't die.
Yeah, pretty much three new...
There's a lot to unpack here.
There's not really a lot. 3 new chosen soldiers have been chosen to become, you know, our newest Ryusou Red, Ryusou Blue, Ryusou Pink, while their mentors, Master Red, Master Blue, Master Pink, can still transform and are at least helping them fight the threat coming in called, what are they called again? The Minosaurs?
Minosaurs,
and the Destroids?
Yes.
Or the Druidons. The Druidons and their Minosaurs are coming
the
back
Druid
to
Empire
Earth.
versus... Oh, wait, no, that's not...
Yeah, no, we're close. We're just off a couple of decades. But anyways, they're coming back to Earth to take the actual Kishi Ryu, because they're like the greatest power source on the Earth, that are now hidden away on temples. And it's a whole Gingaman sort of storyline where, you know, they're in this nice little secluded village that's not been seen by the naked eye of man in so long, and seclusion and whatnot, until a weird little YouTuber ends up in their village, and all shit goes down from there. Where at that point, a Minosaur shows up and goes all Shin Godzilla-y on the valley and the village, while Tank Joe, one of the new generals, has marched into the temple and decides to try to steal the Kishi Ryu and destroy the temple himself. However, in this time, the Ryusoulgers and their masters go off to face the threat, and Master Pink and Blue get eviscerated by the Minosaur, while Master Red takes a shot meant for our current Red Senshi, and he dies in his arms, and then says, "My soul is now one with your soul," and gives him the power to fight Tank Joe, which then allows him to awaken Kishi Ryu 3 nights and battle the Minosaur. Then him and his squad decide to transform, and their elder, which is Ultraman Jack, decides to tell him, oh yeah, you need to go find the other sex of the Ryusoulgers, green and black, because they left the village years ago. Now you must join with them.
They left the village years ago, and they happily intersected with a bunch of Sentai teams fighting each other.
Yeah, like, this episode is like, it's not a lot to unpack. It tries to throw a lot in your face.
There's a lot to unpack, and we'll get into that in a minute.
No, I don't think there's really a lot. Like, I think there's, like, not really much to unpack except, like, okay, we just need more character development, because it's like, here's your characters, here's
This
your
is our
Kingdom
first
Man.
episode. Like,
Yeah.
what do you expect from a first episode of a Sentai?
Well, I mean, in previous years, we've had, like, actual somewhat story be developed within your first episode. In other years, we've had it that it's just right in your face, and it's like, okay, that was
There's
flashy.
a trend. The more successful seasons just throw everything right at your face in the first episode.
Not always.
Think about it.
I think more in the modern years, maybe.
That's what I mean.
But Kyuranger wasn't really successful either, and they tried to throw a lot in your face.
Kyuranger threw a lot in your face for 50 episodes. There's a difference.
Yeah, because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Well, they were trying to be Kamen Rider and doing a plot every week. Anyways, should we start unpacking?
I guess you can try to unpack since there wasn't much to pack except let's kill off the masters that we promoted highly in the weeks before the premiere.
Alright, first up, when watching this with my family, we predicted the Masters were going to die when their names were Master Red, Master Blue, Master Pink.
Oh, it wasn't just obvious because they were also, Toei alumni.
That part is obviously obvious. But the thing is, when they didn't bother to give them actual names, we knew that they weren't going to survive the episode. There was always a chance that they could be like a 2-episode thing. Pull a little Kamen Rider V3 and have the first 2 writers for 2 episodes, then have them die in a nuclear explosion. But let's move on with that. The Masters were an interesting concept because you think about, like, most of the time when we have, Sentai with a lineage and you have powers passed down, powers just get transferred. They don't get to fight alongside their masters. And so having that connection, I think, made the deaths less just blowing shit up and more, hey, this is actually going to matter to our main characters. This isn't just, random acts of death. And that, I think, is a bit more weight than Ginga Man had. It's kind of
because they were doing the ceremony to obtain the power.
Right. And so, like, they had, obtained the part of the power and all that. And so it's cool because that kind of gave the Masters something and a reason to exist in the narrative and not just be somebody that's already passed the powers down, kind of like Ginga Man. When it comes to that, like, it makes me think back to 5-Man, because 5-Man was incredibly busy in its first episode and also featured the death of, like, a bunch of characters that we didn't really know at the time, with also supposed deaths of a couple parents. But, like, the idea of, like, oh, it's a nice peaceful land until the Fire Nation attacked. And so essentially that's kind of like where we're at with Ryusouls is it starts the stakes pretty high, which is good because, building up to it can take too long, and that's what loses viewership and sales, I think, in the long run. And especially since last season was much a season of build up, for really great payoff. This was kind of more of a, let's just start from the start. I would have liked to see the Masters for a couple episodes before killing them, but, their deaths kind of, add a little bit of drama, a little bit of weight to it. Totally saw it coming. Like, there was not like they were hiding it. I think that, having Green and Black be there from the beginning, and moving them to be not joining the team immediately. I don't think they're joining the team next week, just based on episode preview stuff. So that kind of gives them some extra time. Plus the fact we had Green and Black debut in the Super Sentai Psycho battle. So that kind of gave them a chance to be introduced, separately. So that you kind of have like a little bit of an attachment to the team in general. But going forward, I think this show, if it keeps running so fast like this first episode, we're probably going to have a season like Kyuranger where it's just like, all right, what the hell is going on anymore? It also felt like Ultraman in the beginning parts of this episode. I did legitimately feel like I was watching Ultraman for a bit, which was a little concerning.
Well, a lot of the show, it's them trying to catch up because Ultraman sales were better than Sentai. Don't forget.
Oh, I know, but...
I mean, the battle when we get to the Minosaur is obviously very Ultraman-like. The fact that their actual real mentor and master of the village is an Ultraman is very ominous with the series.
Because here's the thing, as much as like, alright, Ultraman sold better, I get that, but let's not change like our entire format just because of that. I do like taking some elements from Ultraman, like the way the kaiju work, like, I'm just calling them kaiju, the Minosaurs. They work like kaiju. It looked and felt very Ultraman until the Rangers transformed and started fighting. Which I also like them having their powers just from the start of the episode. Like, we're not even, like, messing around here. That was really refreshing, honestly. It's definitely, they're going into a new direction, just like they have been the last couple of years, have all gone in a new direction. So, it feels different, but there's some really good stuff here that they just need to expand upon and keep going with. and not just blow past, like, world building, because, wow, the Ryusoulgers are a separate race of people.
Hey, at least one thing, though, is the opening credits has it that the villains are shadowed out like villains in an anime, like Zodiarcs and stuff, since there's allegedly 12 generals. On top of that, it foreshadows that little Miss YouTuber's dad is probably one of the bad guys and probably going to die.
Yeah, there's symbolism in a Sentai opening. I've not seen that. Ever, really.
Well, I was going to say Zamigo's symbolism was, like, just minor.
I mean, minor, but, like, the whole intro is dripping in symbolism. It kind of
we haven't had that in a while. I think Shinkenger had a bit of that.
Shinkenger had a bit of that, but this is just dripping in symbolism. It reminds me heavily of the Kamen Rider Gaim opening, where most of the visuals in Gaim were actually spoiling you to elements of the plot that would come up later on, but you don't really realize it until it comes around.
I mean, most of us, like, when we watched Gaim, assumed with the armors that they were going to be related to the power-ups.
Here's the thing. For me, the shot that got me, thinking the whole show, was the shot in the opening for Gaim, where Kota's, like, grabs the fence, and then I think he sees himself in a reflection, and, like, he runs up to the fence, and then he, like, crumbles away. Like, it's himself, like, moving away, was just, like, symbolism of how he would leave his humanity behind at the end.
And it's great symbolism. It's a magical time.
So now I'm, like, gonna frame by frame the Ryusoulger opening and see what I can find inside
I saw a lot more of the, you know, the teasers mostly being with the grandfather and the villains, because, like, I don't think the heroes themselves had too much of a reveal like that, but I feel like it was more with the villains. They tried to add that ominous future.
It's not just giving you a very clear-cut picture of the series and how it's gonna be, and I think that is something that will drive viewership a lot more than just kind of playing it safe.
I mean, one of the biggest sell points for the show right now is the fact that Tank Joe is also, you know, freaking General Bios.
Right, I mean, that's a big sell.
And I remember everyone going, oh, that suit looks like shit, but then seeing it, his suit looks like he's supposed to be like an evil version of Kishi Ryuo. Like, look at his suit and then match it to Kishi Ryuo's suit. It looks literally like they're one and the same.
Yeah, they have that cool, like, symbolism, I think. And it may be that the Kishi Ryu actually have a connection to the villains.
Alright, so are you done? Should we ask Metal his thoughts?
I think we should ask Metal his thoughts. I can't think of anything else at the moment, but that's like a lot.
Alright, because I have
that's a lot more to talk about with the first episode of Sentai than usual.
Because I have stuff I want to unpack on the show.
Alright. I guess really all to take away with it on my end is this show definitely does feel like Sentai's stepping it up a little bit because of Sound Out said, kind of just laying everything on the table kind of right away, as opposed to having it be a bit more of a slower burn, like say with Lupat, where it was, you know, slowly building up towards, you know, a grand climax. Here they're like, oh, bad guys, oh, action, dead masters, go out. That, and the fact that there is actually a lot of pretty good action in this first episode. Like the first fight with Ko and Red Master both donning the suits, and it was kind of interesting, I thought, that there was no real way to differentiate the suits between the masters.
There actually is.
I was going to say it's because the younger Ryusoulgers used the power-up arms and the masters didn't.
No. There was actually a slight thing that I noticed that not many people noticed.
Oh, what?
There's a color differentiation on the helmets.
Oh, I thought I was making that up in my brain, but that's
no,
something.
Oh.
The master ones are lighter colors.
The masters were lighter colors and didn't have thick of a gloss.
It's almost like their suits had been worn throughout many battles.
No, the suits were the bodysuits were about the same, but their
the helmets were like worn out.
But the helmets were like a lighter color, and the stunt actors are made to look like stockier and older people.
That's actually something
they put a lot of work into it. Yeah, it's something I didn't think about, but like I was noticing, I was like, there's something slightly different about this, but I didn't really pick up on that.
I picked it up immediately that like with the guy playing Master Red in suit form had like a beer gut, and then he also had like a different color helmet. Because I saw from the back, like, their colors were different.
I'm gonna have to go back and look, but yeah, actually, that's a subtle one that I missed. But, like I said, they did use the power arm, so you could differentiate them. But, like I said, the action overall, like, the fight scenes we saw were pretty good. I mean, like, I'm not a huge fan of the sword, you know, having to yell out as you crunch the Ryusouls in it to power it up, but you know what, it's not bad, and the transformation sequence it's not exactly doing a samba and then shooting in the air, but it's certainly interesting having a bunch of tiny Ryusouls dancing around you and then poof, transform. But
I like the actual sequence when they run up to you like a mini-con or a target master. And
that
then jump
was
in
cool.
body.
That part, yeah. But it was different. But like I said, the action was good. I also like how they establish how Pink is like stupidly powerful, and then demonstrate that very quickly.
That was a well-timed gag too.
By having her fling Red into a cliffside.
My favorite part wasn't the part when she does, like, literally, like, the palm push on Red. My favorite part was Blue was like, yeah, it's great that you're really strong. And she, like, puts her hand up like, I will fucking smack you. And he's like, no. It's funny, too, because, like, it's weird, because, like, I don't really like the actress, but, like, the outfit makes her look, like, actually attractive and hot. But I'm like, the outfit makes you look good, but I'm like, something's weird here. Is it the outfit doing it for me, or do I actually like what you look like? I'm like, I don't know.
It's hard. Like, I will admit also that killing off the Masters in the first episode is something I suspected they might do, but it still did kind of, like, surprise me, I guess you could say.
I think it was more like, it felt like, as Sound stated, it felt very rushed.
I know, but it was just kind of like I said, I was sitting there, was like, like, I wasn't expecting them to do it. I was like, they might do that. The whole dead master kind of slant, and they did, so.
You mean fighting evil by moonlight, getting burned by daylight, oh fuck, I'm really dead, oh no, I'm not the Sailor Moon.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I just have to make that joke because,
like you said, the little we've seen in the villains so far, which is really just the foot soldiers, and I guess the two generals, Squishy Mushroom Man, and...
No, that's a girl.
I just assumed it was a man, but yeah,
Squishy mushroom person.
Squishy, gooey mushroom person.
From here on out, I'm using gender neutral pronouns with that character.
Fairness when it comes to kaijin and such. Yeah, I guess you really should go neutral unless they specify. And then Mr. Nega Kishirio there, which actually looked like pretty good. Then obviously the actual mecha fight itself, I thought once again was pretty damn good, just because of how, shall we say, unbulky the Kishirio suit is, which allows the suit actor to move a lot quicker and nimbler.
You know what's impressive? Like you said, the suit was more easy and more nimble to move.
It's less bulky.
Yeah,
than Sentai suits. Like
I'm thinking back, like, we've had Agile Mecha before, like Deca Robo, but with Deca Robo, every time it would go to be Agile, it would switch to a CG model. Here they don't have to do that.
No,
remember we had this discussion though, Sound Out, with Mucha when we were talking about the toy scans. About it was ironic that we were talking a week before the toy scans leaked that we were hoping that a Sentai Mecha would be like Ryusou or Geki TaJa, and then we're like, oh shit, what up when the toy scans leaked?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I especially love the fact that they actually did show some of the part swapping with, putting the drills on the knees and then putting, Triken there on his one leg and doing like a leg slash, which I thought was pretty cool because that's a big thing of the toy line is like doing these different combinations. And
it doesn't make me regret buying the mini claw now.
And I will kind of echo what Wheelchair said earlier with the Minosaur. I definitely did get a more traditional kaiju feel from it. Like, I guess more ultra-ish, I guess would probably be the best way, just because of how it looked and just, like, how the fight felt against Kishirio, which, again, might be intentional or might be unintentional, with Jack being, the ancient old guy.
No, there's a lot of intentional stuff due to the fact
No, I
that
know, I'm just saying, like,
sales.
it definitely felt very ultra / typical kaiju-esque, especially doing the Shin Godzilla back beam thing, so... But Ui and the grandfather, we didn't really see a lot of them this episode, though Ui is definitely the comic relief who is probably... I was gonna say, she's probably gonna wind up being, one of those divisive, love them or hate them characters, because she is gonna be comic relief. And, oh, I'm a YouTuber, yeah! I say I go out to these wacky places, but I'm actually in the suicide forest in Mount Fuji.
Oh, hey, you know what my favorite part about that was when they were like, you gotta go wipe her memory. So how are you gonna wipe my memory? Are you gonna use a magic spell?
Sledgehammer.
When he pulled out the sledgehammer, I was like, it's time to play the game.
That caught me off guard. I was like, this is dark. He's just gonna pound her head until she forgets.
By giving you massive head trauma. I know it's some magical, like, sledgehammer that he'll just, like, tap and,
You would think,
boom,
but we're not too sure because he didn't actually use it.
Because he didn't use it, yeah.
I'm just waiting for the part where she comes back into the village and freaking Jack just looks at him and be like, I told you to use the hammer. And then he takes the hammer and bobs Red with it. And then he's like, oh, fuck me. Watch that be the clip show episode.
They just carry that thing around just in case.
Oh my god. No,
like
when they
the
start...
like the
guys.
Race
Guys,
cards and
yeah. When they start going to reality, it's just them running through a crowd of people hammering them, and then it's like security cameras show these masked assailants attacking people in the city. Please notify us of who they are.
No, but that was also a funny moment that, like Soundnote said, was kind of dark. Because, like, when he pulls it up, it's an actual sledgehammer. And I'm like, oh. Like,
The next thing I was waiting for is Blue gonna show up with a shovel.
Like at first my mind was, wait, are they gonna kill her? Then I'm like, oh no, it's like a magic hammer or some shit. But it was still an interesting little moment.
Like if it was supposed to be a magic hammer that wiped your memory, why isn't it just like those rubber mallets that you see them always using?
I thought it was at first, and then it just like he pulls it out, and I'm like, no, that's not a rubber mallet.
No, it's the real sledgehammer.
No, as soon as he pulls it out, because like I was expecting it to be like the rubber mallet that like they usually are seen using to like fix roofs in Japan, like in a lot of the tokusatsu and J-dramas. But as soon as I seen that thing get pulled out, I was like, I see Ultraman Jack is friends with Triple H. No, I'm not gonna lie. If that hammer doesn't come back, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be making hat references, but calling just saying hammer.
Dang it! It's the hammer.
The hammer.
Stop. Hammer time.
Dude,
Anyway.
yo, oh my god. You know what I hope? I hope one of the Ryusouls is a hammer, and it literally, when they do the armor, it is that fucking mallet.
Oh god.
Well, you never know, because we still don't know the true mysteries of the Kishiryu or the Ryusouls.
You know what? One thing
you
that
never
also
know.
annoys me is that Terramigo is going to be shrinking down and just being like a life-size T-Rex, and I'm like, this is going to be leading into a lot of retarded shit.
I can't wait. It sounds fun.
It does
like
sound
the
fun.
dance in the end.
Oh yeah, dancing ending. Yeah.
That was terrible.
It's one of those things where you know the home crowd, especially the kids in Japan, they love the dancing endings.
No, I'm just saying it's one of the worst ones we've had thus far.
I really like it actually.
I'm indifferent. I'm like, it's not my thing, but hey,
My favorite eye catches was the beginning though, where they did the part where it was the Ryusoul spinning with the sword in the background, and then the one at the end, which was like the Final Fantasy music and the CGI things of the mecha flipping around on the book like a loading screen.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I like the what was it like? Yeah, because at the beginning of the opening, they have like this cool like line art kind of thing. It gave me like the Live Man transformation feeling, with like the way they did the colored lines to like replicate stuff. Like I thought that was really cool.
Oh no, I was just talking about like the little advert when they're supposed to be, here's our sponsors, and it just shows like the...
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I was talking about the opening with the lines.
Alright, so the last thing I just wanted to say was, like I sounded stated, like, the murdering thing was like kind of like a little too early. Like, it was somewhat expected, but like, it was a little too early. I was somewhat mildly expecting at least maybe 3 or 4 episodes with these guys, since they were highly promoting them. I was like, okay, these guys are gonna die, but I don't think they're gonna kill them off like right away.
Highly promoted them, but not in any trailers.
Yeah, it was weird. So like, I do realize we're gonna probably see a lot of flashbacks with them, and they're probably gonna come back from the dead. As we told Metal, the helmets was obviously a change, plus how the suit actors are made to look older and stockier, as well as they had the, little knight swords that weren't the actual weapons. One thing that drives me up the wall is how the actual Ryu Soul Saber, you have to charge it, like you have to keep pumping that shit. That's kind of annoying personally. Like, I found that really like obnoxious that they had to excessively like pull that shit like it was a chainsaw that just didn't want to start.
I kind of like the way Black did it in Strongest Battle. It's like here they're kind of going really fast, but like when Black did it in Strongest Battle, he kind of did it really slowly. It was like a smooth motion of the like a flowing river.
You're just trying to add to that suave debonair that you've fallen in love with your man crush.
Yep.
One other thing I just remembered that I heard some people talking about that they thought was interesting is when the Minosaur first shows up, we actually hear Ui like unleashing a blood-curdling scream.
Yeah, because she's afraid, because she's a little girl.
No, I know, but some people are like, whoa, shit, that makes this whole thing, a lot more real. Because it's not, fake acting screaming. It's like, holy shit, I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
it's
she
like
actually acts.
legitimate screaming.
She actually acts like a little kid, because she is a kid. No, one thing, though, that I wanted to bring up, though, is, like, I've seen a lot of people on social media saying about, like, they haven't seen great mecha fights like this since, like, Go Buster, but Go Busters uses a lot of CGI, and the fight with Kishiryu 3 Knights didn't use any CGI like Go Busters. This is like Geki TaJa level. Like, there was some CGI for the monsters moving, but Geki TaJa was usually very, like, an agile suit for the actor to move in. And it was just weird how people were like, oh my god, this hasn't been as great as Go Busters. I'm like, this is like the first good, like, actual standalone moving mecha since Geki TaJa. and everyone's like, oh no, it's Go Busters, and some people are like saying this is the best mecha fight they've ever seen. It's probably one of the top tier, but I don't think it's one of the best. It's one of the most outstanding because of how agile the actual suit is. Cause like, it's making me really go, I'm glad I got the mini pla. I'm glad it has all this cool playability that looks wonky and retarded with the Lego gimmick. It kind of makes me want to get the deluxe toy if it goes on sale, but I see that this cool connectability gimmick is going to make that deluxe toy possibly more expensive in the secondary market, or even in general, like hard to come by, because kids and adults alike are going to get really, really into the weird interchangeable gimmick style. But overall, like, I think I like the show mostly for the mecha and the battles right now, and I could care less about the characters for, like, you know, introductionary arc, you know, like, for the next couple of episodes, like, unless, like, they do a lot more world building and story, I'm gonna be like, okay, I just want to watch the mecha fights, I just want to watch this, you know, the suit acting, I don't really care right now who you guys are, cause, like...
Well, there's been, like, we've had 20 minutes of screen time. We've had one episode, but you're judging it like we've had 10.
No, it's just, like, when it comes to, like, some of the first ones, like, I think, like, some Sentais, like, older ones when it rushes, I'm like, oh, okay. But then, like, newer ones when it rushes, I'm like, I'm a little bit more skeptical because, like, sometimes if the first episode is, like, how this one was projected, the others sometimes don't usually follow up.
It depends, because, like, sometimes you have a show that, like, starts super quick and then slows itself down, like, after. And the fact we're not getting rushed into Green and Black next week is a sign that, like, they're just rushing. They're just like, they need to kick off, you know, start big to keep cause the thing is, they had to keep the momentum going because, you know, we had this, you know, pretty crazy Lupat finale leading into the strongest battle, which was a big hype thing for a month, now into this. Like, this had to keep the momentum going. And Toei spent some money on this show, and I hope they make it back, cause they spent some money on this show. And that's always concerning when they start throwing money around. It's like, okay, hope this works out for you.
And then the plot twist, Ultraman still beats them in the ratings and toy sales.
Maybe if they actually did half seasons instead of full 50-episode series in 2019, they might actually be successful. I don't know.
My argument, I said to Metal the other day, was that instead of them doing just 25, what they should do is just do full 50 episodes, but do it like how Gundam does it, where they just put a break, where you just split them up, where you have, like, the spring and fall be, you know, your Sentai, and your summer and winter be your Rider.
Yeah, and then your summer Ultra as well. But with
no,
Toei,
that's what I'm saying.
It's like with
Toei,
Bandai's toy schedules, it would work better because then they wouldn't have so much overlap.
No, what I'm saying is, like, if they do it, they can still have a 50-episode series, but they just break it up as, like, part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying you need to add a subtitle, like, you know, subtitle or pretext, like Spawn does with Super.
Gundam Iron Blood and Orphans didn't do it.
You just do, you know, Ryusoulger Part 1, Ryusoulger Part 2. That's literally how you really market it as.
Yeah. Especially with the way that Kamen Rider's been for the last few years of feeling like 2 separate seasons.
Yeah, no, like, I think, honestly, if they, like, I don't want them to do it that every season is 25 episodes. I just want it that, just break it into 25 episode arcs rather than, and just do it season. You know, you get what I'm trying to say. Is like, I'd still want a full show because with Ultraman, as I argued, Ultraman Geed left me wanting more than what it did because I felt like that show needed more. So overall, we can all say that Ryusoulger at least had a good start. We have different interests on how we liked it, but we still agree that it was good.
Yeah, I'd say it was really good. Like, it's keeping the momentum going for Sentai, which is really good, because I feel like Sentai has more momentum right now than Rider does. Like, Rider's most exciting things recently has been, Rider Time specials and returning actors. Not like, new show actually is, you know, doing some cool new stuff.
But don't forget, we do have those weird spurts of the Sentai overshadows the Rider, and the Rider overshadows the Sentai.
Sentai's been overshadowing Rider for, like, a few months now. Like, that's the difference there. Like, ever since Zeo aired, I think, is since Sentai's had, like, a big advantage. Just because Zeo aired and was kind of disappointing for a lot of people. And so, you know, anything Zeo does at this point is just trying to make up for lost time, whereas Sentai's just kind of picking up and going with it. And, you know, it started strong. A strong start is very important. I'd say a strong start is even more important than, you know, consistency throughout a season. Like, if you have a strong start and a strong end, people are still going to remember your show fondly.
All right, Metal, you got anything else to add? Because I'm getting ready for us to wrap this up because it's almost an hour 20 before I edit this.
Not really. It's just it seemed to have a pretty strong start. Hopefully it can keep the magic going, I guess you could say. Although, everything kind of hits that mid-series slump, but, hopefully it can keep the mojo flowing, for better or worse.
All right, with that, we can wrap up now, right, guys?
I think so, unless we want to talk about Shinobi's incest storyline in further detail.
No, we're not.
Okay,
No.
let's wrap things up.
Yeah, Metal, go.
All right, follow me on Twitter at VisibleNinja0. Check out my YouTube at Visible Ninja Dojo. I run my live shows Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Mondays, it's the Gundam and sometimes other mecha show. And on Wednesdays, it's the Tokusatsu show. So check me out.
Sound out.
I'm on the holy trinity of social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at SoundOut12. Also on YouTube as SoundOut12 with my shows, Model Kit Monday, SoundOut Pickups, and SoundOut Review. All kinds of fun stuff over there. So come check it out if you like toys, because I don't really do videos on anything else.
All right, I'm Wheelchair21 on YouTube and Twitter, Facebook as well. Instagram is TaJa_Doyle. And that's about it. As for what I do, I just mostly do mini-plow reviews and Ultraman reviews, Ultraman figure art reviews, and from time to time Rider figure art reviews, since I still buy a few of those. Other than that, I don't do much, but as I said on the last week episode, I really want to get back into just reviewing random old toys lying about my house, as well as new Transformers figures, since I'm very passionate about, the Studio series. I really love collecting them, and I really like collecting the Generations line lately now, and that's about it. Anyways, with Hero Club, you know how to follow us by now, but you'll hear it again in the outro. And we're actually going to take a short breather due to the fact that we have been pushed hard on a straight of episodes with no natural breaks. So we'll probably be off for maybe a week or two, and then we'll be back in the middle of April. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks with episode 81.
Hey, it's Wheelchair21, and thanks again for listening to an all-new episode of Los Ingobernables de Tokusatsu. If you want to hear more content or see more content from the Hero Club YouTube channel, we're going to need you to subscribe, comment with some feedback, and share this channel with a friend. We also would like you to check out our website, hero-club.com, and follow us on various social media outlets just by looking up Hero Club for Life, as well as the stores you see are where we shop. Anyways, thanks again, and we'll see you all next time.